Welcome to a special episode of the Way Up Podcast with your host, Geoff Knoll. Today, we're joined by Tom Kiat, the founder of Elite Training Center, boasting over 25 years of coaching experience with athletes, celebrities, and people from all walks of life. Tom is renowned as the secret weapon for achieving fitness goals, as featured in C.J. Calvert's book, Living an Exceptional Life. Tom's journey is truly extraordinary, with a remarkable career as a world-class natural bodybuilding champion and a dedicated school teacher for over 25 years, teaching a wide range of subjects in physical education to students of all ages. Currently residing along Costa Rica's picturesque Pacific coast, Tom's story is one of inspiration, dedication, and expertise. Join us as we explore his incredible journey and glean insight into fitness and personal development on the Way Up Podcast. The Way Up Podcast is sponsored by me. I'm a real estate broker in the state of Missouri, and I believe that this message is worth my investment. Hang with us till the end. I know you won't be disappointed. Hey, I am extremely excited to be here with my friend Tom Kiat. Tell me a little bit about what you've got going on in Costa Rica, brother.
Oh man, that's crazy. What can I say, man? I moved here when I was 49 years old, retired. We did the fast track plan, basically massive action to get out of Canada because we saw the slippery slope that it was going, and it's a bit of a shit show in Canada. So we packed up, moved here, changed my life completely. Here's a guy who used to live in this big home, 3 cars, motorcycle, a business, a teaching career, doing them concurrently. And I just said, enough's enough. Life is a daring, bold adventure. I said to my wife, I said, we're moving to Costa Rica. What do you think? She goes, I'm in. Let's do it. We did 3 days worth of research. We booked a ticket a week later, shopping for houses. We did a 5-day power trip. This is during COVID, 2020. Okay, this is during COVID. See, people are saying, don't fly. We go to the Toronto airport. There's nobody in the airport, right? But us with our masks on. We fly down here. We're shopping. We're looking at houses, picked a home, and the rest is history. Bought something. We sold everything when we got home. But the key point here for your audience is life is a daring, bold adventure. When you put your mind to something with a plan and take massive action, you can have whatever you want in your life. It's hard to believe that, but it's 100% true. So here we are, living life. Tom 2.0.
Well, and it's looking in the scenery right there behind you. Is this at your house? Are you sitting at your house?
Yeah, so I've been kicked out of my house. I'm living here. My wife threw me out, so I'm living in my backyard. No, I'm just totally joking. Yeah, this is my this is my backyard. She's gonna come out and say, Tom, don't say that. Yeah, this is my backyard.
Well, I can see why you would want to trade Canada for that. I can see.
Dude, it's so nice here.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how nice it is here. Simple life. I have everything I need. It is quite the life.
Yeah, that's fantastic, man. Well, so I was first turned on to you. You had been on a friend of mine, Jay Teagues's Do Hard Things podcast, and I was watching through that. I was part of his mastermind group and just kind of absorbing all the information I can get from the people that are on there. And I saw a podcast that you had with one of the things that you were talking about that really grabbed me and got my attention big time. So much so that I emailed you as soon as I was done listening to it.
Yep. I remember that.
You were talking about our children as they get into their teenage years and how they start to pull away from you. And, dad doesn't know what he's talking about. Dad doesn't, so I want you to kind of, do you remember what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%.
Please talk about that again. I think this topic is so impactful. It made a difference for me. And I want you to share with my audience.
Okay, I got to tell you, my inner circle. Obviously, it's my wife, but my two kids. My two kids are 23 years old, and my son, 23 years old, budding entrepreneur. He's a big time influencer on YouTube and Snapchat and everything else. And I got my daughter, hardworking, industrious, bright girl. She's almost 20 years old. Geoff, I talk to them every single day. I talk to my son twice a day. We do business together. We're kicking ass. We're talking about making millions together, and we are 100% on track in doing that. Again, when you put your mind to something, shit happens. You go to action. You make it happen. My daughter, same thing. She calls me all the time. It's funny. My son said to me, he says, "You know what? As much as we're very similar, Andrea and you are even more similar to each other." I go, absolutely. Absolutely. Because we talk to each other every day. Here's the thing. 25 years of school teaching. And you can meet a kid in grade 1 and say, okay, let's see how he progresses until he gets to grade 8. And personality wise, there's no changes. There's almost no changes. And then you meet the parents and you say, okay, I've got a better picture now. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. So here's the thing. Conversations with your kids all the time is fantastic. But more importantly, you got to lead by example. They're watching you all of the time. And to me, I had to be true to that and say, I've got to set the best example. It's not what you say, it's what you do. And that's the life I led. So you get to the age of 20 when your son says, I know everything, Dad. I can shut you off. You just don't understand. And here we are. He goes like, Dad, you're my best friend. You're my mentor. Like, you've got tons of wisdom. Where did you get this from? I said, it's always been there, dude. You just didn't listen from the age of 20 to 23, right? They come around. So, my question to most people is, what are you investing in those relationships? How are you setting the example for your family as a man so that your kids are watching and saying, hey, you know what? I've got to follow this guy's footsteps because he's leading a noble, respectful life. Geoff, I'm by no means perfect. I've messed up so many times, and the kids saw that too, but they saw me get out of the hole and fight out of the hole and make something out of myself in spite of those challenges, right? I'm the kid who grew up scared, insecure, skinny in a dysfunctional home with an alcoholic dad. And my motto was, I could be like that, or he could be my biggest stimulus for being completely different. I interpreted the story differently and said, I'm going to be the best dad ever. I can't be like this guy. He loves me. I'm his favorite son, but I can't be like this. And that was it. I hope that answers your question to some degree.
No, it absolutely does. And I think what pulls me in by this, especially there was one point that didn't get said in this, and I want to bring it back up. So you said a lot of times that our kids will pull away from us. And the reason for that is dad is not making enough of a difference, not a big enough impact. You're not winning enough in your children's eyes to get their attention. Yep. So you have to perform at this high level so that the kids look at you and are like, holy crap, dad does know what he's talking about. He's winning. He is on this. So that whole thought process, I hadn't heard anybody present this way. And I am extremely driven by the fact that I want to be a good example for my son. I want to be able to teach him how to become successful, because I believe as a parent, it is our number one responsibility to prepare our children, not just to be able to survive in life and be a functioning human being, but to thrive. If we can teach them that, and they can cut out all of the negative things that I did, because I wasn't always killing it in life. I went through most of my school, all of my earlier years jobs, mediocre at everything. I didn't feel like I was really good at any one specific thing that I did. I did asphalt for 10 years, and I'm okay. Yeah, whatever. Nothing special. I was a pipe fitter. I traveled at the oil field, and I was okay at a lot of things. I'm not bad, but nothing impressive in all of them. So
I was like, how can I stand out and how can I teach this? But whenever I heard that perspective, I was like, I've got to work on myself, because
Yeah.
my son is now 14 years old. And at 12, I really started to see what you were talking about, this pullback and this
Yeah.
obstinance. And it's a difficult age, don't get me wrong. It's difficult. That being said, since I have really started on my journey and my transformation, my son has made comments of, he's paying attention. I'm seeing it. He says, Dad, you're kind of like Batman.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That is what I want, because he wants to replicate that. He does want to be like me. And that, if I can model success, then I win, because what I want, my goal is to make him successful.
Yeah. Yeah. Now there's a lot of people listening to this saying, but you don't understand. Like, I see, Geoff, I see the chiseled face. You got the cool beard. You're a good looking guy. I've got a little bit of muscle on me. Okay. So people look at me, hey, he looks kind of like a skinny, older version of The Rock, right? Get these kind of comments, right? But here's the thing. You might get a guy listening to this going, but Geoff, Tom, you don't understand. Like, I am out of shape. I am really out of shape, or I am super skinny, or I am nerdy, or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's when you actually take the action to make the transformation. Your kids are watching that and they're saying, look at my dad. My dad lost 50 pounds. My dad's got some muscle on him. My dad achieved. And the respect you get from that is incredible. They're proud of their dad for stepping up and actually taking action. So it doesn't matter where you start from. It's where you end up, because of that mission to be that example for your kids.
Right. Well, in August of 2021, I was 300 pounds. I stepped on the scale this morning at 205. So
Yeah.
I have had some transformation, and it is 100% possible for anybody to have a transformation. It does take discipline, but building that discipline has created success that's rolled over into other aspects of life. I was just talking to you offline before we started recording about fasting and how excited I am about this podcast, because I get to have conversations with people like you and all of these brilliant people that are winning in different areas of their lives. And I'm paying attention. I am listening to what you guys have to say, because I want to be able to turn around and model that success, so my son has that example, so I can continue to do this. Because 100%, this is what this is for. I want to be able to, I want to replicate the success. I don't have to recreate the wheel. I can do what all of you guys are doing.
Geoff, I got a question for you. You were 300 pounds. 300 pounds. And I don't know how you felt about yourself, but there was a catalyst. There was something that said, enough is enough. I'm making some changes, because almost 100-pound weight loss is really significant. Most people can't do that. And you're 6'5", 20, how much?
205.
Okay, so you're a lean guy. At this point, you're a lean guy. And I know you've done some running. I mean, you look fantastic. You've done really well. It's above average. It's different from what most people do. What was the catalyst? What was the trigger that said, enough's enough? I'm doing this.
So my catalyst was, I got sick. I started off at home, and I am a self-employed. I own a business. I'm a real estate agent. So self-employed, I didn't have health insurance at the time. And I go to the emergency after about a week of having this blood pooling underneath my skin. And it just looked like my whole body was kind of bruised. I felt like I'd been run over by a train. I didn't know what was going on. My gums were bleeding, and I'd have to rinse out this coagulated blood. So it was finally enough that I decided, even though I don't have insurance, I better get this looked at. I've got the people around me saying, hey, this is alarming. This is scary. That's not normal. And okay, so I go get it checked. I ended up in the hospital on the oncology floor for 4 days. They're testing me, saying that my symptoms are similar to people that have lymphoma or leukemia. So they're doing all of these tests, and I'm looking around thinking about what if I have something severe, and I don't get regular checkups. I haven't been taking care of myself. What if this is the end? And I'm thinking of all of the regret of, if this is
Yeah.
the end of my life.
Yeah.
I have talked about all of these big plans that I have for my life, yet I haven't shown anything. I haven't done anything. I'm all talk. And I don't want that to be the example that I've left for my son. That really, really bothered me a lot.
Yeah.
Um, Also thinking that I have a life insurance policy that I was using as a security blanket. And I'm looking around the hospital and thinking, adding up all of these things, this is going to cost so much. This is going to eat up all of this money. If I'm to die here, it could very well eat that entire life insurance policy. And my family's going to be struggling.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult on them. I'm going to be a burden on my family. And that's not at all what I want. So when I got home, I made the decision that I have to take control of what I can control. Even if had I been lean and healthy, or had I been not overweight, I don't know that it would have affected that situation. I have no idea. I still honestly don't even know what caused that. There was a very inconclusive
Right.
reasoning for what happened with me. That being said, there are tons and tons of issues with being overweight, health issues that are, you're just inviting them into your life. Yeah, I've got type 2 diabetes in my family. I have heart disease. I've got all these different things
Yeah.
that genetically could potentially already be working against me. Why am I going to allow just not controlling what I put into my mouth be
Yeah.
an adding factor to that? So I came home and I decided I've got to get this under control. And I started, I felt like crap. I was on 100 milligrams of prednisone a day.
Right. Wow.
Or,
Yeah.
I was on prednisone for some months as they stepped down, and that alone has all kinds of side effects.
Yeah.
Fortunately, none of them affected me. And I honestly believe that God was just kind of protecting me and carrying me through that. But I came home and I started working out. There was the Body Project, all these videos on YouTube of low impact workouts, because I was overweight. I
Right.
couldn't do much. I didn't have much energy. So these are all standing low impact workouts. And I would do one every day. And as I started to feel better, I was like, okay, I'm watching what I'm eating. I'm watching my diet. The prednisone affects your blood sugar. And in the hospital, they wanted to give me insulin. And I said, I'm not trying to take medication. One, I'm not trying to pay for it, but two, I don't want to be dependent on medication. If I can control this with my diet, I'm going to do that. So I I changed my diet. I changed the way that I live in my lifestyle, and I started to feel better. About 2 weeks at home, I'm starting to feel physical difference of, I'm feeling good. And so I started walking every day, and one positive change leads to another. It starts to domino effect.
Mhm.
You get the benefit of, I feel good from this. What else can I do? What else am I capable? So, you get into the self-development journey. You start
Yeah.
reading books and absorbing knowledge and
Mhm.
meditating and really starting to be open to what I'm hearing other people say. And whenever I can read, you've read lots of self-development books.
Of course.
So you can see similarities in a lot of them. A lot of them say the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
If they're all saying the same thing, I'm going to say something that has to work with that ingredients to success. There
Yeah.
has to be
Exactly.
some congruency. And if you see that, if you're not trying it, you can't expect to win at it.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I think once I started to get that, the weight just started falling off. And it was just a few months after that, I'm like, okay, I have to be training my mind the same way I am my body.
Mhm.
I have to get all of this aligned, of mental, spiritual, all of the areas of my life. I need to be working on myself so that I can produce greater results. And it's really been crazy. That year after that happened, that next year, I made more money. I passed my income by $50,000 of what I did the year before.
It's huge.
It's huge. It's huge. And I was doing a lot more. I was more active. People say, well, I don't have time to do that. I don't have time to work out. You don't have time not to work out. I don't have the energy to work out. I don't have the energy if I don't work out. I've got to get in and do that, because that fuels my day. That gives me the energy. That gives me the strength to do the things that I want to do, and putting the time into myself, developing myself mentally, it makes me better. But I can look back from where I started to where I am, and physically, I don't even look like the same person. But if you could look at the inside man to what I was and where I am, I'm not the same person. I am not the same human being that I was. And it's because I'm becoming an exceptional human being. And what's most exciting is I know that the best version of myself, I'm not even close to. I'm not even close to that guy yet. So I'm just chasing it. I'm chasing that. I've been talking a lot.
I think it's fantastic. This stuff is gold, man. This stuff is gold. I appreciate it. I got to tell you, a lot of people are listening to this going, well, that's Geoff. That's Geoff. That might be Tom. But you don't understand my situation. You'll hear a lot of people say that, turning their own lives around. And I found there's two ways to do it. So number one, we live very boring, mundane lives. You wake up on Monday, you go to work, you do your thing, you come home, have dinner with your family, maybe watch a little bit of TV, go to bed. That's people's normal routine. They can't wait till Friday night. They get some time off with the family. They've got the weekend to themselves, and then they're back in the rat race. That's usually life for a lot of people. Now, here's the thing. 90 to 95% of what you do over the course of your day, your week, your month, your year is very boring, mundane stuff. But what if every single day you did something small in a few key areas? Okay. 1% change every day over the course of 100 days, 100% change. Give you an example. I live in a Spanish speaking country. I didn't know Spanish a few years ago. And here I am doing my lessons every single day, 10, 15 minutes. 3 years later, I'll walk into a store and I can conduct a conversation with a Spanish man, no problem. 3 years later, by taking small action every single day. I took up jiu-jitsu, went in there. I was lousy. All these tough guys, ex-Marines, blue belts, brown belts, purple belts, getting choked out left, right, and center. But what I said was, I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to make the decision once that I'm going to keep showing up. And here I am 3 months later, 6 months later, 9 months later, people walk in and I'm destroying them because I'm picking up these little lessons every single class I go to. Small improvements over time, right? You take a look at listening to a podcast every single day. You don't think that's going to expand your mind, listening to the right podcast and getting that wisdom. So you take the mundane and you make an effort to make that 1% improvement in a few key areas every single day, whether it's learning to play the guitar, learning a language, working out, it doesn't matter. That stuff adds up over the month, over the quarterly, over the year. And all of a sudden, after 5 years, you're like, I'm actually a master at something. Anybody can do that. And that gives anybody hope that they can say, all I've got to do is pick the right things to put 10, 15 minutes into. Geoff, I can put myself through a 10, 15 minute workout that is so killer. That's all I need. And like you said, it's, you can't afford not to train. You can put in 10, 15 minutes. Everyone's got 10, 15 minutes.
Right.
So it's just those small, precise little actions every single day that adds up.
You brought up your learning Spanish, or you are still working on that daily. I just started this yesterday. I had a I had a conversation with my wife because I was just thinking, I've said out loud in the last 6 months, probably 3 times, I would like to learn Spanish.
Yeah.
I would like to learn Spanish. And saying that means nothing until you actually start learning, until you
Right.
you put on the audio and you start
Yeah.
listening and you participate and you speak it and you try to get into conversations with people that speak it so you can actually get better at it.
Yes.
So yesterday, when I went to bed the night before last, I told Megan, I said, hey, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna do 10 minutes every single day. I'm gonna learn Spanish. I'm going to become fluent in Spanish, which is going to make me more valuable in my career field, more enriched in life, because I can communicate with more people, because we learn from other people. And there is a lot of Spanish speaking people that have a lot to share, that will be a new audience of people that I can communicate with, I can share my story with, and I can be part of that. So I was like, man, as a real estate agent, I would be kind of killing it in my area, because there's not a ton of people that are Spanish speaking. We have a handful, but there's a lot of people in the United States that speak Spanish. We have a lot of them. So to increase my value as what I can do, what I can contribute, how I could serve, I feel like it's selfish of me not to try to learn.
100%.
I'm going to do it. So,
Jeff, what are you going to do otherwise? Netflix?
Yeah.
I mean, there's better alternatives than some of the stuff you see on TV, and learning that language. Spanish is probably top 3 in the world. I would say Chinese is probably number 1, maybe English, Chinese, and Spanish. Those are your top 3. Why wouldn't you learn it? Chinese is a little more difficult. Spanish is not that difficult to learn. So kudos to you, man. I'm impressed. Well, absolutely a skill that's worthwhile.
I'm on day 2. I'm on day 2, but it was the same thing. I said, I'm a busy person, and I've been putting this off because I'm busy, which happens to a lot of things. I have great ideas and great plans. I'm like, well, I've got so much crap that I am trying to do. I started a business. We're trying to build our brand. I'm trying to grow on YouTube. I'm trying to do all of these different things that all take time and effort. But if you don't put it in the calendar, and if you don't actually just start and do something, you have to take action and do it. If you don't do it, you will never start. I'm never not going to be a busy person. I mean, if I am, that's sad. I'm going to continue to be a busy person because I want to continue to grow and get better. So taking the action and just saying, I'm going to do whatever I can. If I can squeeze in 15 minutes a day, every day, over time, I'll get it. I don't have to be fluent in Spanish tomorrow.
No,
I'm not moving to Mexico tomorrow, but at some point I want to be able to, I've got clients that are Hispanic that English is their second language. How comforting for them would it be to have somebody who understands them and can really communicate with them better?
Yeah, they find that they connect better to you because of that. He's my guy. He knows Spanish, even a little bit. Makes a big difference, man.
I put in effort to be able to communicate with them better. I read books on communication. Communication is a big part of really all businesses, in my opinion. I think you should be doing it, but especially in a real estate, you're in sales. If you don't understand communication, you're struggling. You're on the struggle bus for sure.
Yeah, big time.
So, well, I don't have a whole lot of time. I want you to talk about, I know you've got a podcast. I know you train, you coach, you do some different things. I want you to talk a little bit about that and let people know where they can find you and what they can know about my friend Tom.
Oh man, I'm in a position where I don't have to do anything. Right. So, but what are you going to do on the beach? Drink margaritas, go into your pool. I mean, there's only so much you can do. Right. So, at this point right now, I do have a men's group. I coach a bunch of men, and that's more of a hobby, but I love doing it. I do coach various people fitness wise, keep them busy, get them healthy. I do that. I've got a podcast myself. I try to pump out 2 episodes a month. I've got a TikTok page where I try to post 3, 4, 5 times a week just to send a message out. And the reason why I do it is because that's my legacy. I'm giving back. I'm giving back to brothers out there who might need to hear my message. That's what it is. My income source is passive, but I got to tell you, my son and I, that's the thing. We said, let's make millions together. That was the thing. That's our legacy. We've got a couple shows that we are working on, that we are pitching, that we are doing well with. I'm a content director and I am a creative director for a lot of these shows. My son's doing a basketball show in Europe very soon. We just finished his first season of a reality show for basketball. We've got a bunch of Snapchat shows that are killing it in the marketplace with a bunch of creative talent. But hey, you know what? That's not my area of expertise. It wasn't. Now it is. Right? Again, where there's a will, there's a way. I'd spent a lot of time with my son creating business, man. So what can I say, man? People want to reach me. They can reach me at Coach Tom Kiat at gmail.com. They can reach me at the Ultimate Men's Playbook .com. And just send me a line. So many people are afraid to message and say, hey, how's it going? They think I'm going to sell them anything. I'm not looking to sell you anything, man. Just have a conversation. Men need men. Communities need communities. People need people. And getting in touch with people and sharing and saying, hey, listen, I'm struggling with something. Can you just give me a perspective? I'm here for people. Won't cost you a dime.
Yeah.
Convo.
I
know you're the same way, man. You're the same way.
Well, I can vouch for that for you too, because I discovered you on a podcast. I heard the same thing. Hey, you can reach me at my email. So I was like, okay, this definitely impacted me. I sent you an email just kind of spilling everything of how it touched me.
Remember that.
And you were like, hey man, you responded right away. You were very authentic, real. Sometimes you see stuff online and you're like, man, this is it doesn't feel like a real connection, but whenever the person reaches right back out and says, hey, I really appreciate the fact that you let me know that impacted you. Thank you so much. And then you sent me a copy of your book. You sent me a digital copy of your book free. You're not trying to sell. You're just, hey, I want to help. This is my mission in my life. This is me fulfilling my purpose of becoming who God created me to be.
Yeah.
So
Geoff, you know what's interesting? My son said to me the other day, he says, hey dad, he says, this might seem kind of weird to you. I went for a confessional in one of those booths. I go, cool. That's really good. He says, how do you feel about that? I said, I think it's fantastic. So how did it go? How did you feel? He said, I spilled my guts. Mm-hmm. I said every single vice and sin I've ever done. And he says, he was totally open and we had a great conversation. He goes, Dad, cool thing is, he's a master at jujitsu and we're going to roll one day because my son's into jujitsu as well. Right. I said, really? That's really cool. I said, how did you feel though? How did you feel? He said, I felt like the weight of the world was lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah.
And I think so many men out there are they're holding things in and they have no outlet because they're worried that somebody's going to judge them. Yeah. Okay, whether it's going to a confessional or I recommend people reach out to a guy like you because you do have the wisdom, the depth of understanding to help people. Reach out to me, reach out to Geoff, spill your beans, man. And you're going to feel so much better because we're going to give you some wisdom where, hey, maybe here's some steps, maybe not necessarily with me, but here's some steps that you can take that's going to better yourself. Men need to do that. Women need to do that.
Right. Well,
but we're so afraid to.
And that's the thing with me too. I'd walk around. I've struggled with all kinds of different things in my life. I have struggled with all kinds of things that you feel like you can hide it. You can, it's not happening in public. So people don't know. And what people don't know, but if you lock that in and you carry that around, you're holding yourself back. You're keeping yourself from growing and becoming what you were meant to be. So the magic of just saying something out loud to another human being and getting it off of your chest is freeing.
It's a big step.
It's freeing.
Big time.
It makes you feel so vulnerable because you're ashamed of the things that you think that nobody knows about, but you carry that guilt whenever you don't let that out. So talking about it and saying it, making yourself vulnerable, it's absolutely freeing and life-changing.
Geoff, I've coached, I'm going to say hundreds of men and women over the last 25 years in my fitness and coaching career. People said, Tom, this is more therapeutic than anything. And it's the same occurring things that men come up with. It's usually addictions, whether it's alcohol, food, sex addictions. It's usually one of 3 or 4 things, almost always. And we're all in the same boat. We all have those things.
Yep.
Right. So it's nothing new.
Yeah.
Your situation is nothing new.
Whenever you say it out loud, somebody will chime in. It gives them permission to say, you know what? I've struggled with that too.
Yeah.
I've faced those same demons. I've had those same challenges.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel like you're not alone.
Yeah.
You're not alone. Other people are going through the same life experience that you are. It is a different face, but it's the same thing. So thank you, Tom. Do you have a final thought? We got like 1 minute before I get cut off on this. Leave my listeners with a final thought.
Okay. As I said, I'm the guy who the skinny, small little kid from a dysfunctional family who I like to think I made it. And people say like, well, how did you do it? Consistency. Just show up every day. Make those small improvements. It is life-changing. That's my superpower. It's just consistency, showing up and doing the small things, because over time, 100% they add up, and you can do that too.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother. I am so appreciative of you coming on my show.
Yeah, God bless, brother. I love what you're doing, man. Keep it up.
Thanks. Appreciate you.
Right.
Yeah, boy.